Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're working on a set of tools for dulcimer players, Swift, TDD, and lately we've been working on a chord chart for mountain dulcimer players. And we've got the chart itself drawing, but we don't have anything that lists out the actual frets that you play to get those, to use those notes. All right, we left off with a start on a test, and I think if there was any production code, I deleted it for the weekend. But let's see, I guess I'll go to the picture here first. So if you want to find a chord, you have to find basically a circle, a square, and a triangle if it's a regular chord, major or minor, or you have to find a circle, a triangle, and a diamond. Okay, so in each of these places, we're going to try and make those matchups. And there is a kind of rolling pattern that you get, like 002, and then that's circle, square, triangle. Then you move the top note over, the highest number over to the start here. 2, 3, 4 is triangle, circle, square. And then move it to the top again, 4, 5, 7. And that rotation, that basically in DAD tuning, that rotation is kind of what you get. You know, just that every note participates as the root, the third, and the fifth. And there's, you know, those three combinations, then you're back around to the root again. Now, different chords, I mean, that was a D chord. A G chord is 0, 1, 3. Well, do we have it on here? Surely we do somewhere. We have many more chords than I thought we would have. Okay, but anyway, here's G, 0, 1, 3. And then that's already to, you know, this kind of extended one. So we go back around to 3, 3, 5, and then 5, 6, 7. And so that pattern of two the same, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 1 plus 1, or 1 plus 1 plus 2, you know, those are the options. Seventh chords are different because the shape's a little different, and so on. All right, so I don't know, the more I think about this problem, the more like combinatorial kind of difficult thing it appears to be. But basically what happens, well, there's sort of, well, in a way there's kind of like 6 possibilities for a note in a chord, in a given chord. So this one, the 4, it could be 2, 3, 4. It could be 4, 5, 7. The 4 could be on the opposite string, and then it's 4, 5, 7, or 4, 3, 2. You know, and so there's these combinations. Oh boy. So but I think also we have to kind of consider the permutations of the strings. If I take the root being here, I guess, yeah. And there's only one D chord, well, there's only one D chord that's close together using 0, 0, 2. But I mentioned earlier last week that, you know, you get the 0 for free. So we have to worry about the stretchiness. So you can't have a chord that's like 0, 1 plus 9. Well, yeah, that's just too big. You can't reach, well, I can't reach from 1 plus to 9. There might be a couple people out there, but not me. Not most people. But if it's 0, well, let's say 0, 3, 2. Well, you don't have to worry about where the 0 is, so it could be 0, 10, 9. The two you have to play, you have to hold those two down, they're close together, but you could let the 0 just, you're not holding anything, so it just rings open. It doesn't necessarily sound like the best chord. I mean, it sounds very separated, but, you know, that's sometimes what you want. I mean, go look at a list thing or something, you know, you do these long jumps and stuff. So I don't know, but I know basically, I mean, if we go to a given note in this list, right, we want to get the we're trying to consider they call it the inversions. So the the first form is just root third fifth. If you move the root to the top, then it's third fifth root, and if you move the third then to the top, it's fifth root third. Um, we want all those three inversions, and then because the strings are symmetrical, you can kind of flip them 0 0 2 or 2 0 0. It's the same notes on the two strings, so anything that does one does the other. So my thought was, like, go through the frets and find the roots of the chord, the possible roots. Now, the 0 1 is going to be funny, but if I took this and I said, find me a close square and a close triangle, well, there's no triangle on the middle string that's close. It's up here at 5, but the square is right here and this triangle here. So 0 0 2 is a good chord. So what about 2 0 4? Well, that's a good chord. No, 2 0 2 0. No. Well, what can we say? 2 0 7, but that's a big stretch. I don't know. But at some level, I have to walk through the root and try every root position, like 0 and 7 and 3 and maybe 10. But I don't think we need to do anything starting above 7. And even 7 won't get you all the way out on some chords. So it's really the numbers less than 7, because that's the octave. So 0, 3, and 0, that gets you the basic ones. I mean, 7 7 9 is valid. It's an octave higher than 0 0 2. It might be worth doing if all three notes are less than 10 or 10 or less. Then it would at least fit on this fretboard and you could justify it from that sense. But yeah, so I might try this. And then if you have the root, well, you can try for the third or the fifth. Well, let's take this one. It's easy to find the fifth. The third's over here. And then the fifth on this string. So you have kind of the given a string. Well, I guess we're going to say the root positions. Somehow I want to get 6 combinations. And I may have to do it on, let's do it on a different chord, because D is right on the bottom, so it's very much, it's kind of limited by that. Let's try G. Okay, so we need a G, a D, and a B. And if you're starting on the G, like, you could get the D here, or you could get it here. So I mean 0 1 3 is valid. If you're going to get the 3, well, you got that there, 0, and then the next triangle is way up there, so that's not feasible. So we just want this one. I don't know, maybe just the stretch thing keeps you from getting things that are completely infeasible, but I feel like I should say the root is on the bass string. Give me a chord with the fifth on the middle string and give me a chord with the third on a middle string. And so this possibility gives me 2 variations: root, middle, root, third, fifth, or root, fifth, third. If I do the one here, I have the root in the middle, and then I can either have the third or the fifth, or the third or the fifth, the corresponding ones. So, and then lastly, the root on the bass string, and same deal, third and fifth, or whatever. So, yeah. So this one might, no, that's not going to do it. 3 5. Okay, 3 3 5 is feasible. that's a stretchable chord. 3, 1, and I need a square, so 310 is feasible. So there's really two practical chords, and I think this is usually true. There's two practical chords from any given root, and then we have to permute these two strings, either root third fifth or root five, root fifth third. Now, I don't know. I mean, we can go through a lot of work and generate the 6 combinations, but I suspect it's easier if I just write them down and say, take the root on the 0, the root on the 1, the root on the 2. Okay, and so I don't know. This test seemed like it was too big on Friday. We're going to ask the chord chart for the fingerings for this chord. I think we need to break it down to something a little more feasible. So I think I want to say, give me the root on, I'm going to give you a note and you tell me where do you have it on this string. And maybe we leave off the ones that start. I don't want to do the starts on 7. I don't mind if it stretches up. If it's this, well, there's 7. Yeah, so 7, 6, 5. That's a reasonable chord to report. Okay, there's also 5, 6, 7. Well, 5, 6, 8 is a valid chord. It's not a G chord, but it is a valid chord. Okay, in some form. Excuse me. So, all right. So I guess if I said, "Hey, string, where is this note, D?" And if it's the bass string, he comes back and says position 3. If it's the middle string, he says 6. And if it's the melody string, the closest to you, it says 3 again. Yeah, permutations vary with the tuning. Yeah, they will have different shapes. So yeah, DAG tuning is, if this thing is not this is no longer going to be a copy of the 5th, right? It's going to be a G. Okay, so D, B, G, 0, 1, 0 would be a good D chord because it's got G, B, and a D. And, so that would be very easy in this tuning. You just press one note because these two are open. So you could just press the 1 on the middle string and DAG would get you a G chord, no problem. Where in DA, to get a D chord, say, well, D, A, F sharp is 2. So I guess it's 0, 0, 0, oh, G, A, B. I guess we don't have an F sharp until we get way up there. 6.5 is the F sharp, so that chord would be hard to reach. 0, 1, 6 plus. I think it's 6 plus. Yeah, would make that chord very awkward. I would probably play it with an 8. Open 8 and then 6 plus would be feasible. But open 8, 6 plus is not a regular chord in DAD. It's just not one of the ones that's going to show up. So yeah, the tuning changes it. So I have to do things kind of abstractly, and that's why my head was blowing up on these combinations. It's like I have to stick to, I've got this thing of, if I have 3 notes of a chord and 3 strings, there are 6 permutations as to root, third, and fifth. Now you can go up or you can go down, and one direction is going to be more feasible in general. I mean, we normally would favor going, if it were a tie, we would probably favor going down, but if you could reach it going down, then it would be the next octave going up. So you would, you would have the choice there. All right. So yeah, I think somehow I have to have this permutation idea, and I think I have to say, I'm going to give you a note. I guess I'm gonna know if it's root third or fifth, but I'm gonna ask you for a note, and then on your string, then I'm gonna ask you for the third on a different string and a fifth on a different string. But I'll know what that note is. I can tell you the fifth is an A, say. Okay. And I'll say I took a preview this weekend. I'll have to, let's see if I can find this. I'm doing the mountain dulcimer app. Well, the hammer dulcimer has a totally different approach to their notes and everything. Let's try to have hammer. I started looking into this stuff, and it's like, oh my goodness. Okay, so I mean, this is how the hammer dulcimer is strung out. These notes kind of go up normally: G sharp A, B, C sharp D. So it's kind of a weird pattern. It's like whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So it's kind of different that way. And then you go up a fifth, so this, like we talk about circle of fifths, 5 notes higher is usually a related note. So you go up over here, it's E on this side. So if you need a C sharp E is an A chord. So you could hammer this side, hammer that side, hammer a couple strings higher. And we're gonna have some crazy problems here. And then these things, I don't know if this is supposed to be Michigan. There's a variation called Michigan tuning. I don't think this is it, but I think they tune the strings differently sometimes. And but we have the same problem. It's going to be like, I want to go, if I want an A chord, I need an A, a C sharp, and an E. Well, those three are really close together, a little triangle here. And because of the way they lay it out, well, I don't know, because these things, it's hard to tell major and minor without peaking. So you can get A, C sharp, E, but if you go down a string, G sharp, A, let's see, A, C sharp, E, so it's in the middle. So G sharp, B, G sharp, D, B, D, G sharp, that's an augmented chord. So it's a very unusual chord, it's for folk music especially. It's not that common even in classical or jazz, but it's a weird chord, So the shapes don't stay the same on the way up. I guess that's my point. If you want a B, D, G, oh no, I got it backwards. That's diminished. G sharp, B, D. But if you wanted a G, B, D, I don't know where you'd find it. G, whoops, okay. G, B, D, it's a different shape here. So the shapes change as you move up and down. The right notes are different. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is a bass string. So you can see A2 is, oh, you're right, the very first note's different. A2 is lower. So this tuning on the right, you have more flexibility on the bass side. And maybe you're a little more likely, like G here, if you're doing a G chord, G, G, B, D, you might want to hit those 4 strings or something. I pulled down the app. I mean, it's a little $3 app, and it's interesting to see it. And it's gonna be a long time before I can do anything real with it. But I can see, like, from a music theory perspective, there are patterns, but they vary as you go up. But I'm sure it repeats. If A, C sharp, E, I'll bet you the next white note, D, F sharp, A, G, B, D, those are all legit. C, E, G sharp, that one changes. Okay, so kind of in the middle, it repeats. E, we don't go down far enough. Well, there are people who are very good at it, I will say that. In the community we're in, it's mountain dulcimers and hammer dulcimers. They're really kind of very different instruments. Maybe a long time back, they had similar roots. I mean, it's a string stretched across bridges, but you know, this one has a lot more active notes, you know, a lot more choices. I mean, you can only play physically. I don't know if you can even play two at the same time on the same side, you know. I mean, you probably can kind of smush it and bang it and not make it sound right, but most of the adjacent notes aren't particularly going to sound great together. Um, but there definitely are patterns. There's another one it's the ladder for a seventh chord: A, skip one, C sharp, skip one, E, skip one, G. So A, C sharp, E, G gives you that A7 chord going up. D, F sharp, A, C gives you a D7 going up. I don't know if you get B, D, F sharp, A. Yeah, so the seventh chords have a relatively easy pattern, you know, that you're kind of going up on the same string. I don't know if you alternate, if you put your hammer on the other side of the string to do that or not. I don't know enough. You know, I see them up on stage, and you can't really see the strings. You don't have an overhead cam or anything to show you what they're actually playing. Um, but yeah, there's definitely stuff for this, and it's going to be all similar. I mean, a C chord is C, E, G, no matter how you find the notes. But you know, just like here, I probably don't want to hit this C and then this E and then this G in the middle. Like I'm reaching all over the place for it. That's not good. Um, and they're, I don't know, they tend to be a couple feet tall, maybe 3 feet tall in some cases. About that, maybe 3 feet wide, 3.5 feet wide. They're trapezoidal, so that's why this is named trapezoid. But you know, it would be nice if some of the stuff we do carries over, but some of it is definitely not going to. Um, we will see. Okay, enough delaying on the inevitable. All right, so I think basically what I have to do, or what I think will work, is I'm going to say, take a string, find the root of the chord, form the chords that can do that. That you have basically the two chords that you know go up to it or go down, you know, go down from it or go up from it. And I think if we do that, we'll be fine. The only thing I don't quite know how to work in there is these open notes, because they should let us be flexible. Let me go back to D, because that's easiest to see in this. You know, if I want to do 0, 5, 4, okay, I get one of each shape, and I don't have to reach from 0 to 5 because that stays open. So I want that to be a valid chord. I don't know. Ugh. But if I lock down the root, well, I guess that's the thing. If I lock down the root and I say, give me the thirds on the middle string, I mean, that's a tough one. 0, if it weren't a 0, it would be tough. 0, 5, and then 6 is the closest one on that side. Well, I mean, that's a legit one. All right, but I think it all comes down to asking a string for a particular note in 0 through 7, and then asking for the closest one of that note in the other, allowing it to go above 7. So, I mean, 4, 5, 7 is a D chord. If you go up one note, 5, 6.5, 8 is going to be an E chord. Okay, but 5, 6.5, 8 is a relatively natural reach. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's a reasonable stretch. And that G sharp on the 6.5 isn't on anywhere else in the neighborhood, so it's the only one you're going to get up there. Let me go down to E. Yeah, so 5, 6.5, 8. the only triangle you see is this one right here. So every chord's going to have to deal with that. 1, 6.5, anything is not feasible. You're going to have to go up to the 8 to get it. You can't use this 4 because you need that string for the third. So even though there are lots of valid notes, which are nice if you're playing in a key to know what the kind of home notes are, the chord shapes are going to be pretty restricted. Okay. All right. Well, all right. So I think if I say ask the string for its lowest root, the first note of this thing, that will work in the E minor case where the 6.5 is the lowest, and then I'm going to say find me the thirds. I guess I'm gonna maybe go on the bass string. Where's my D? Okay, find me a third on the middle string. Well, that's 5. And find me a fifth on the middle string. That's 4. Is that a feasible chord? Yes, by the 0 is free rule, 0, 5, 4. Okay, now let's put the fifth on the middle string, 0, 0. Find me a third. Well, this one's the closest. It's the only one under, it's the only one in 7. But 0, 0, 9 is a perfectly valid chord. It's just 2 low notes and 1 high note, so it's a very stretched out one. All right, so I guess what I'm going to ask then is, given a tuning, given the string and the fretboard, give me the lowest, the lowest X. In this case, D. All right. Now we might already have that stuff. I don't remember what's, normally ChordChart is the one that has, ChordChart's the one that knows, well, let's get to ChordChart, tuning and fretboard. Okay. So he's in good shape there. I'm going to pull this chord quality down. Okay, let's make one refactoring. And actually, am I supposed to do it like this? Refactor, extractor file. Chord quality. Good. Okay, back to ChordChart. All right. Done enough talking and thinking. The same thing, the 0 fret could be a thing with other notes. Yes, right. So if we were doing a D chord, well, let's think of an A chord, A, C sharp, E, G. We can go anywhere we want for that. C sharp and G could be very high, and open A would be fine. Well, no, and that's why it's like there's so many things to keep track of musically. But the patterns are saying, if almost like if you were staying on one string, where would you find the root, the third, and the fifth? How far off are they? And I spent a lot of years learning piano, so for me, thinking in those half steps on a piano is pretty easy. But I can do it. It's just counting chromatically. Just nothing I could do in the first year or two probably. But anyway, this is just saying if you start on D and you go up 4 half steps, so D, D sharp, E, E, F, F sharp. That tells you how far you have to go up chromatically to get that note. So it's going to help you with the spelling. D, F sharp, A is a major spelling. D, F, A is a minor spelling, and so on. But it doesn't tell me it doesn't have anything. It doesn't know anything about multiple strings and which one's close and all that stuff. So they're really the chord patterns. It really goes down to chord quality. But there are patterns in this, this thing of X, X, X plus 2, X, X plus 1, X plus 2, and x plus 1, x plus, oh, sorry, x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 1, x plus 3. All right. Those shapes consistently recur if you sort of take the closest notes and not think about, oh, I get open strings for free and all that, but you just take them and kind of rotate them around. Those are valid patterns, but I kind of don't want to. I don't want to define those because, like you said before, like if we did DAG, all those patterns go out the window, and there's a whole different set of patterns, and I don't even know them in DAG. I mean, I play DAD in a sort of chord. I can play it in either a chord and melody style where I look for all these chords, or there's a drone style where you only play this melody of the song on the closest note to you. The melody string is the bottom one, and you just let the others drone. So if it's DAG, you'd be playing DNA would play every time you strummed. You get DNA, so you get this sound. You get a very like strong key center, and it brings out kind of the modal nature of some of the tunings. So I don't know, DAG, I'd have to look up, but DAG, I know DGC is Dorian. Okay, so different ones fit naturally with different scales. DAD is really Mixolydian or major if you have the 6.5 fret. But if you don't have the 6.5 fret, you have kind of a flatted note going up. It's a different sounding mode. So I mean, there are kind of 7 modes the Greeks defined. Major and minor are 2 of them. There are other modes jazz players use. There are other modes. Well, there are like pentatonic scales or hexatonic scales that have 5 or 6 notes instead of 7 in their scale. I mean, even minor, like there are three kinds of minor scales, and one of them has different notes going up and going down. I mean, it's just there's all kinds of musical possibilities for this stuff. Unfortunately, like some cultures tune a 23 note scale instead of a kind of 20. Instead of 12 half tones, they have 24 quarter tones, that kind of thing. At least we're not fighting that. Okay. So I guess my question is, if I ask a string for the first note of a given value, we have the notes for each string. Yeah, we must have that now. Okay, so notes for root name. Well, that's the notes for the chord. Well, okay, let's write a note for note name. Maybe it's note name and offset. I don't know. It'd be what this thing, it's almost this implementation, but that's going through the pattern. All right, I'm gonna start there. Okay, so I'll leave this for a little while. Yeah, good question. So we definitely look up somewhere. I mean, the chord quality knows whether it's a root or whatever. Let's get to that fretboard view. Draw chord element context cell. Let's see the other view. Is tuning? No. Okay, draw code notes as chord shapes. Oh, it's not a view. Okay. You kind of. Oh, he doesn't have to be a view because he's calling a drawing function that isolates him from that. Okay. Tuning strings. Okay. Yeah, so draw chord note has the chord note. Let's see, chord note. Somewhere we pushed the interval in with the note. So let's see who produces chord notes. I swear, it's been not even a week and I'm just like washed away as to what we did. Okay, so here's ChordChart. Okay, yeah, so ChordChart, when we get the notes for the patterns, we put that key. Well, I think this, let's see what this is. It's not really a key, I don't think. You see a keys.element. Okay. Well, the key of that is yeah, we don't know the shapes. Yeah, they're just coming in on the notes that this is the third of a chord. And I'm F sharp, I'm the third of a chord, and then we draw it that way. So so I think in effect, like the knowledge of this note being where it is on the chord, I think we could kind of get it from that notion is kind of what we're after, but it got twisted around because it's driven by the patterns instead. But I think I can say, given a note, well, I need to know the fret number basically. Now I don't think did we define that as a class? Fret. Okay, index name type. Okay, but I think we just have kept the ints around for that. All right, I gotta write a test. Okay, a chord chart knows first note on string. Okay, so we're going to create well, let's take this. Okay, so I've got this major minor board that has enough notes on it to be major or minor. 0, 1, 1.5, 2 on DAD. Okay, so if I don't want to say first note. All right, well, let's expect sut dot. I guess I just want to say the note for, well, it's really the fret for, and then I want the note D equals 0. Now I got to pass the string in too. Fretboard tuning. I guess I could say fretboard's dot string sub is kind of the way we get there. Okay, so let's pull this thing out. Tuning dot strings sub 0, note name D. Okay. If I say, give me the fret for the 0 string D, that thing was tuned DAD, so the 0 string is there. All right. And then if I ask that on the A, I'll get nothing back. Good to know. It could be nillable. If I ask on the D, it's a repeat, so that's fine. Okay, there's no duplication across there. That's interesting. Okay, but he finds the note. I guess I could assert several of them. Note name B is going to be nil. And I got to look at how we did it again. D, E, F, F sharp. Okay. E is 1. Fret. Ugh, he's got to be a fret. All right. Fret 0 D. No, what's his house fret defined? This is his chromatic index, his name, his fret type we don't care about. Well, let's just say dot index. This is 2. I guess I could do this first. D, E, F is 3. And this is F sharp. Use our little musical spellings. Okay. I think that's the true stuff about this thing. But we don't have fret defined on ChordChart. Maybe you should just give the string number. Oh boy. Okay. We'll get our test back around tuning. We're just going to give it 0. I think I need to say that. Okay. Oh, he's got to return a fret according to this. Okay. Okay. Sorry. All right. Why don't you have that? Int has no member index. Fret. He's returning a fret. Well, it's actually a fret optional. Okay. And this thing should fail because it's not nil and then it's got the wrong index. Okay. Now. Okay. So we need to well, we're going to take, we don't need the quality pattern. We just need to know chord note, chord root, quality pattern. Wait a minute. This doesn't know. And that really is just a spelling of a chord. That has nothing to do with tuning or fretboard. Yikes. Okay. Well, that's in the wrong place then. I think maybe he could live on chord quality. All right, but that doesn't help us here because this thing does need to know the tuning and the fretboard. Okay, as chord quality patterns all satisfy. Fretboard all notes of tuning. Well, this gives us that, doesn't it? Oh, it gives us a superset. Oh, Alberta John, Alberta John, I'm been so distracted by this stuff I didn't notice you join us, but thanks for coming in. So hopefully you picked up on what's going on about trying to get the chords and all that. All right, I guess I can ask the fretboard for all notes, and then he gives me back a set of these things, and then I can filter it. But I guess I could ask the fretboard. Maybe I should be asking the fretboard for the particular note in this tuning. I guess that's kind of where that seems to be. I think that's it. Does he know frets? And if not, why not? Okay, he does. All right. So let's go to a fretboard. Okay. Knows first note on string, fretboard. I guess we can work with the real one. Fretboard diatonic 16. Oops. Okay. So why are you not a fretboard? Oh. Just new fretboard. Okay. He defaults to that one. All right. So now, first fret for note on string. True enough. All right. Well, this is now set. Wait, why am I doing fretboard tuning? Okay, fret for string number 0. I'm determined to where was tuning? I guess that's tuning. Fretboard tuning DAD, and then fretboard. I guess he defaults to diatonic. Okay. Fretboard. Okay. Now, if I ask set fret of, I guess I got to do the note name. String is note name of D, and note is note name of B. Well, B's in there, but B flat is not. So I'm sure we have a flat in our test somewhere. D sharp will work. He doesn't occur on our fretboard. Okay, so fret of string of D, note name D sharp. Okay, and then this. I can never remember this thing when I want it. It's like click, 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 click. Okay, I feel good. Now I can do the same thing. It's a triple click control option command, and now I can type note colon. Oops. Nice when it works and when I remember it. Okay, so set.fret for string, and let's let string equal note name of D. note. D sharp not there. D. Now fretboard has no member fret. Okay, but he's gonna return us a fret, and then 0, 2, 3, 4 should be right on that scale. Okay, so fretboard now. I feel like we're doing the similar things across some of these, but all right, so this is string colon note name, and note colon note name returns an optional fret. And let's just return frets dot last, just to get the test failing, to get something moving. Tuning was never used. Okay, this should probably be, well, I guess our test doesn't need it. All right. Okay. We got 17. Everybody got 17. Good. All right. Now, yeah, no, I don't think so, because we're going to systematically take those 6 combinations of basically first string, second string, third string, first string, third string, second string, first string, third string, and so on. You know, those combinations. The string will know what it's talking about. It won't notice that the notes are in 2 different octaves or anything like that. It's not aware of that, and that's fine because chords are built on note names. If you want a particular kind of chord, you might specify the octaves, but you know, I think that's not going to happen. I am a little worried though. Like we will need to. I think we will need to get to. We can't just get the first string all the time, because some of these chords need to use the high string at 7, 8, or 9. Okay, so if you start on 6 and you don't go further than 6 to 7 to 8 to 9, that's kind of the maximum. That's a maximum stretch. So I don't know if this thing needs to return the set of notes. I mean, you could look up the minimum yourself. It's funny how much you get out of one wrong test here, or you know, one failing test. But okay, what if we return the set of frets? Okay, and then to do this, I think we're going to take all notes dot filter $0 equals note all notes for string. Oh, we need the fret numbers. Oh, that won't work. Okay. Let's work on frets. Dot. So I guess if we map each fret to, I guess I want to know the fret and the note. Map that to the pair fret and string plus fret dot index is a note. Filter where yeah, maybe this would be better to say fret in. So we're doing kind of an augment operation. I forget what you call it officially, but we're keeping a value and its projection under some transformation. We're keeping both those available. So string plus fret index gives us a note, and now we have a fret note in, and we want to keep the ones where, well, let's call this one target. No, using that same name is going to be confusing. Fret 2, note 2, where note equals note 2. Okay. And I don't know, map it back out. No, we can do this better. Okay, get it through. All right, and then I'm going to map fret note to fret. Okay, and then the whole thing is in a set. I swear I'm going to put my own personal library with set dot or to set in there. Okay, if we take the frets and we map them to the note, to the fret plus the note at that fret, and then we filter them, only keep the ones that actually match the right note, and then map it back. And I'll simplify that if this passes. Actually, you'll get two notes back, won't you? Oh yeah, my test didn't change. Okay, so this is equal to empty Well, let's rename this. I think I can write it like this. Fretboard has November fret. Oh, there's 3 frets too. I think it's going to be 0 and 12 or 11, whatever the right number is. Okay, this is map. Okay, let's see if we... And then we're going to have to do a map, a min. Yeah, he wants his empty. Okay. So, okay, there's 12 and 0, 14 and 2. Yeah, we're getting the 2-octave thing. Okay. So it really knows frets for notes, for note on string. Okay. Well, I think this is really what we should expect with the 2-octave scale we've got. 3 and 15. 16. Was it 16? Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, let's push this and then we'll clean it up. Make fretboard know all frets with a given note. Okay, that does sound generically useful, so that's a good thing. Okay, what I realized as we were doing it, I don't need to map and then filter it in the domain and then map. I can filter it right in that domain. So I've got fret in string dot plus fret dot index equals note. Okay, so he should be the right type. So fret starts out array of fret. Filter gives us an array of fret, wrap it up in a set, and we get the right thing. Okay, so make sure that's true. Now, I don't know if you can say min on a set. Oh. Oh. Yeah, that will not get the octave. That, because the note, no, wait, why is that? Oh, this is a set order thing? Map of a set yields an array? Oh, jeez. I can't believe you want to change domains there, but... Can I convert value of ints to expression of target text set of int? Oh man, what do I have to do to these things? I gotta sort them now? We need a helper. Okay, we're going to keep working on this test. All right, so simplify computation of frets. All right. Well, I'm going to look up, let's look at the parameterized tests for these things. So I think I can say, here's a name, here's a note name. We'll break this test out. Here's a note name, here's a set of values, and that will be okay. All right, so where's my cheat sheet? All right, so we say at test, and then we need arguments. And let's see, it's combinatorial if you don't do anything. So we're going to do this. We're going to say D goes with 0, 12. Okay, his argument type needs to be note name of string and expected of array event. Okay. Let me pull this. I'm about doing this the worst way I could do it, I think. Oh, it's empty now. I don't have to test as nil. You gonna buy that? Incorrect labels in macro expansion have arguments blah blah blah, expected blah blah blah. Cannot convert argument string int to expected argument type string question mark. Only concrete. Oh golly. Okay. Oh, this is. I don't know if I can. If I pass this as an array, am I going to be acceptable? Yes. Okay. So if you just pass the array, if you just pass two arrays in, it does the cross product. We don't want the cross product, so we're putting them in tuples. That might look one twist better. Okay, actually, I think they should all indent a little. Okay. And then this becomes, well, expect string note name of node name. Well, no, I'm going to keep one of these other ones. Excuse me. Note name blah 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 equals expected. Okay. And let's pull this out to actual. That, and then map, and then sorted. Okay. A little more elaborate than I necessarily want, but I think let's inline this then. Take the frets on the D string of the given note. Maybe I'll call this given. On the given note, map it to the fret index and sort that, and then we should get the list that we have here. Okay, let's see if that compiles and runs. Yeah, I know you don't like the way I do the formatting. Okay. Okay, good. Let's see. I think I'll clear these just to be. I don't know why it doesn't. Oh. Okay. Okay, now I'm trying to figure out the next step. Okay, so I can tell you the notes for the frets for a note, and then I guess I want to take the minimum of that. Let's check Swift set. He may not tell me if he has a min. He does. Okay. And then that's going to require that element be comparable, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Element in our case is fret. Well, let's let the test push that in a little bit. Okay, so I guess I want to say first fret for note. Okay, for note name D, given D, map to fret index. We don't need sorted. Okay. This is first fret, string and note, map to that. It will come back with 1, in this case, actual. And this should be 0. Maybe we'll do both these. Let's do it like this again. I'll just I think I could probably read that. First fret for note finds the lowest fret number. Okay. This. So I'm going to kind of say you can't call this if it's not there. That doesn't sound very good. I guess he's going to be an optional fret. Okay. Now, both these, yeah, expecting 17 got 0, got 2. All right, or expected 0 or 2 got 17. All right, so this, we're just going to take our set frets.min by less than. I think I can say it like that. All right, now we don't have a comparable on our fret, and this is going to drive that out. Oh, I did not expect that. Actual was 0, expected was 2. Did I not do that? You're right. Oh, boy. That means I'm reusing that name. Strings. Yeah, frets. All right, let's make sure this works, and then we'll straighten up these names. Maybe this one will become all frets. Still not right. 0. Expected 2. Oh, it would help if I used my parameters, wouldn't it? String is D, but this is given. Yeah, expected. Okay. Sorry. So here, this name is not ambiguous to the compiler, but it certainly messed me up. We'll rename this to all frets. So all frets for a string and a note gives me back that list of frets, and then first fret gives me just the first. All right. Okay, well, it's a good time for a break, so we'll take 3 or 4 minutes, and yeah, I need a break. I think too much break got me. But we'll come back, and I think we have more of the pieces that if I gave it the permutations, maybe we should define. Here's a permutation. Can you find this? Can you find this chord? So we'll give that a go. All right, see you in 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so one thing we left off, remember I said something's wrong. Okay, this can go. We never implemented it. But this, to me, when I look at this, it's talking about the quality, the pattern, the keys. It's looking at the chord root, and it's talking about a chord, but none of this has anything to do with ChordChart. So this function to me is on the wrong object. And I mean, the candidates are basically, should it be a function of a note name, a chord quality, or perhaps the chord note, the chord. So that's kind of, it's kind of tricky to say. I mean, chord quality, chord note, chord root plus. Yeah, so chord quality, I mean, that type is, well, he's growing in complexity, but he mostly is this. He's the names of the kind of chords that we deal with and their description, so they have values, and then it knows the patterns of them. And I almost, you almost could define them to be of that mapping type and then not need that method, but that would be kind of confusing, I think. But this stuff is all about pure chord quality. It's nothing, it doesn't know notes, any of that stuff. So it feels wrong to me to put it on there. So that kind of leaves chord, or ChordChart. Okay. Note name knows nothing about chords. Chord quality knows about chords, but not chord notes. That's a higher level concept built on chord tones, which makes me think maybe chord. Maybe we're just going to give a constructor that says chord for a note and A quality. So let's try that. We'll go to chord first, and I don't think he's much. Yeah, he's hardly anything. Okay, so let's give this function. It's really an init. Okay, init chord for note name and chord quality. Okay, and then he doesn't have to return it because he is it. Okay. And then we'll just say let notes equal this. Okay, so whatever stuff we had, oh, not let, just notes equals. Okay, so this is my minimal change version of whatever we had. And then I'm going to delegate in here for a moment. Sorry, in here. Let's return chord of chord root and quality. Whoops. Okay, so this way we're not breaking anybody else. Okay. Oh, interesting. Do we need that? Why am I not getting the warning again? ChordChart. Yeah, he's calling notes. Fretboard tuning notes for this. Yeah. Well, this belongs on a chord, which I don't think exists. No. I mean, I don't think he's any better. He's just as broken test-wise. Okay, and I'm going to take this one out because we haven't gotten there. And I'm not sure we're leading, I'm not sure we're quite heading in that direction or not. Okay. All right, so major, minor board. Well, we already kind of learned. I mean, this is... I think our SUT is chord for note name D major is our SUT. And then we're going to expect SUT dot notes to be equal to the array. Okay, same deal here. This is chord. Well, that probably look better like that. Okay, ChordChart. Oh, getting a little separated here. Okay, chord. Has chords. That's kind of a different question. Okay, so a chord. Let's see if we got things working now. Missing one. Oh, I didn't take the chord off. I'll probably say minor seventh here. Good. Okay, this feels better to me. All right, so make chord know how to spell chords. Okay, now I don't know if this other guy is pulling his weight on ChordChart now. All right, so who's calling this? Okay, so I think we will just inline chord of that. ChordChart. Chart dot notes. This is just chord of that stuff. Chord of that stuff. Now you should have no callers. Yep. Get rid of that. Now has chords, I think, is more his domain because it combines fretboard and tuning, and that's really what ChordChart does. Chord is more of a standalone concept now, which that definitely sounds right. Okay. Does Chord have a description? That'd be a good move. Although I do kind of struggle, but like description feels like kind of a view thing, but it seems reasonable, and we just had it in the view, right? So, oh, he does have it. Is that, where's that coming from? Oh, we did already create it. Okay. Although I still kind of wonder, because it's like you're deciding what the string representation of this thing is. You know, it's like, that's kind of a view thing, but it's kind of not. I think it's pretty much the natural representation here. Although if we supported chords with more tones, that might be an issue. But I suspect we will have to. But we'll get there. Okay, so the initializer is a little complicated. We're walking through pattern, keys, mapping. That does feel a little funny to me. I mean, I think what you should ask for is the intervals or something. Pattern keys, map, key in. We're going back to that quality. And what are you asking for? Yeah. Surprised me too. All right. Yeah, so this thing feels a little Snoopy still, right? Like quality pattern of key. This key is not a key. I wish it told me what this was, but no, it's definitely don't want to do that. Well, where's quality? Let's go over there. Okay, so pattern, the key is a chord interval. And really, what I would see you asking the quality, if you ask the quality, what is your quality for this interval? Well, it's really more like your offset. I guess I want to get rid of accessing pattern. Okay, I think this thing is okay. Chord is a little off. Okay, so qualities, patterns, keys, I mean, that's just the intervals in a given chord quality. Let's provide that. Keys, I guess, intervals is kind of defined by the it's defined by the keys of this. Okay, so let's try and pull it naturally. So this is really an interval. It's not an interval. It's a chord step. Chord. I don't know any music books, Andy. Music theory books. I don't know the right word. Okay. I'm not sure what will trigger it to show up. Maybe Wikipedia might be the way to start. Scale degrees, I wonder if they call them chord degrees. Now, chord tones, I don't know if that's right. Okay. It's an aggregate, a group. A. Is that a footnote or is it a... Oh. Yeah. Chord letters. Well, actually, look at this. This is practically our chart. 0, 4, 7 is major. Minor is 0, 3, 7. Diminished is 0, 3, 6. Augmented we don't have, but it would be 0, 4, 7. Okay, chord letters. Scale degrees. Isn't it funny? There's no obvious word for that. The intervals are the distances, yeah. Well, we're not doing Roman numerals. We're not doing figured bass. Yeah, I don't see a name for this, and I don't recall hearing one before. Scale degrees. But that's relative to a key. Yeah, it doesn't really quite do it. Okay. Chord step it is. Or maybe it's interval. Well, it is kind of interval. Oops. Element. And what is he for us? He's root third fifth. Maybe interval is all right. Chord interval. Okay. So patterns and keys. This keys is the list of chord intervals. So let's ask a chord quality for this, and it's got to be, yeah. It's a little weak of a word, but okay. So if you ask, are you asking for all the intervals? I guess you're asking all the intervals for a given chord note. And you're getting back an array of chord interval. Okay. Pitch classes. Was that in here? Distinct pitch classes. I don't know if I think the pitch class may be like low D, high D, even higher D. Yeah, I don't, I mean, they're using that word, but, well, okay, here we go. All pitches are a whole number of octaves apart. Okay, yeah, that's what I would expect that to mean. I think chord interval is okay. I mean, it is. Yeah, it is. It's not perfect, but a whole article there that doesn't seem to mention the concept. So, okay, so this is. I mean, this is coming. We're kind of doing extracting from this. It's pattern.keys. Pattern.keys. Where'd the note come in? Pattern of. No. Do we need the note name? Chord. Well, the note gets used here. I guess it's just. I guess it's just pattern.keys. So it really is more of a var. Cannot return expression of dictionary.keys to return chord interval. What is your type? A collection being just the keys of the dictionary. Can I say array of this? I think he's I guess he's a set of keys of some sort of set. It could be a particular one. But let's try this. Dot sorted. Okay. I think that's going to be better. Okay, so now this is just dot intervals. No more pattern.keys. Okay, so the qualities intervals, we map each interval to the chord note with that interval. And then, okay, I think that will work, and then we don't need this sort anymore because we're promising to give it out in right order. Yeah, isn't that funny? No one really refers to the notes separately. And you hear them talked about like the root, the third, the fifth, the seventh, whatever, but like, what is that? But I'll dig into I've got a couple theory books. I can see if one of them has a better definition. But yeah, I hear them called notes, notes in a triad, notes in a chord. Okay, so we've extracted this out, and let's take this off because we know the intervals are coming out in order now, and so they'll be mapped in order by interval, so that's fine. We'll inline that effectively. Notes. Okay, so map interval. And I think with that, I think I'd be comfortable with $0 for things. I mean, we know it's going to be an interval. Now I don't think we can fit that on the same line. Not quite. Is he indented? Oh, I could cheat. Okay. Take the qualities intervals, map each one to its note, and that gives you the chord. That almost sounds like the definition, so that's good. Now, I can't just say it's root, third, fifth, though, I will point out, because some of these, because we allow the fifth to be dropped for the dulcimer with only 3 strings, so we're getting the one for this particular chord quality that we've chosen, but it's potentially different between these two or these two. Okay, make sure that miss anything up there. Okay, now that in. I am very happy with that. Okay, let's close a little bit of stuff here. Okay, so now, yeah, so it has chords. Yeah, if you recall, this was our kind of made up, well, it's a simplified answer to that question. So we're trying to find out if we've got the chords, if we've got the tones for a chord, but we don't consider whether or not the chords are on all three separate strings. We just kind of assume it will be. That if the notes are there, they're on enough of the different strings to make the chord work. So it's a little bit prone to being wrong, because you could imagine some chord that is theoretically possible based on the notes on the boards, but you would need too many notes from one string that's not available on another string. I can give you an example, actually. Oops. Okay, because the 1.5 fret, this is F, C, F. Okay, so F is only available on the D strings. Is there any other note that's only available there? This is C sharp. Oh, okay. Huh. Hey, Tooks, welcome. Yeah, so I guess the only possibility was F and C. C is not on this string normally, except with the 1.5 it is. So I was trying to find a chord that used F and C that can't be made, on those strings. But I don't think that's possible. The other one is G sharp, and that's the only note that occurs only on this string, but it doesn't occur on the others. So, hey, it's dulcimer, mountain dulcimer. So it's got 3 strings, sits on your lap. I don't know if I have one. I do have one handy. They're often like figure 8 shaped. They're pretty good sized. But yeah, there's 3 strings. So the one closest to you is the highest one. That's the melody string. So that corresponds to the bottom one there. And we're trying to develop chord charts for them. And I've been spinning my wheels a lot today. I think just trying to recover where I was. But we just got to the point where we've given a string. If you know the name of the string, like this one's D, we can tell you, give me the first F on that string. And it goes, oh, you want fret 1.5. Okay. So, well, for a D major chord, let's find a D minor. D minor is D, F, and A. So we're going to need some combination of a root, a third, and D minor has a 5th. Okay, so we're there. Well, my sister used to live in Kentucky, right near Berea, Kentucky, which is kind of an artsy kind of area. And one of the really super fine craftsman cabinet makers also makes dulcimers. I'm forgetting his name. Warren something. It's not Warren Buffett. Wow, I'm blanked. But anyway, she picked up a dulcimer for herself and one for my dad, and then he died a few years later, and I kind of inherited that dulcimer, so started learning how to play that. I don't know, it's been like 15 years now, but um, just started occasionally going to these groups, and then kind of getting more into it. Where my daughter is the publisher of the Dulcimer Players News magazine, so I'm making this app that will help her out. But anyway, so it's a American folk instrument. It evolved in kind of the late 1700s, maybe early 1800s, and lots of people play more like old time stuff on it. But there are people out there playing, show tunes and stuff like that too. I have played a little guitar years and years and years ago, but it's not something I actively play. I play ukulele a little bit. But yeah, so anyway, I'm getting into this dulcimer, and then hopefully next week we'll be on the other kind of dulcimer, which is a hammer dulcimer. It looks like the inside of a piano, and you have little mallets you play it with, and we're going to try and do a chord chart for them too. So, all right. So I think we're kind of to the point. I think we should be able to answer a question like, here is a chord. We just looked at chord that produces the notes that it knows are on the fretboard, given the fretboard. And I think between knowing the fretboard and knowing the chord, we should be able to answer, like, if you take the strings, like a given set of strings. Yeah, I can demo that real quick. So you choose which of the three sounds you're going to use, and hit go. And you can choose different patterns, even weird time signatures like 5/4 or 7/4 or 7/8 or whatever, and bounce it up or down. So yeah, we got a little bit of sound in there. There's a few other places that could use sound. Thanks. It's been fun. It's been a fun project. The other place that doesn't have sound yet, but probably should, we made this index of first lines, so you have some standard songs, and we've listed out the notes you play to play them on. But it would be really nice to have a little speaker icon there and have it go dun 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 dun. Just playing enough of the song to hear how to get it started. This should be a list of about 100 or 150, but it's only about 10 or 15 now. I definitely am enjoying this one. Thanks. Okay, so I believe what we're going to try and do is we're going to answer the question, if this string has the root, and this string has the third, and this string has the fifth, does it make a feasible chord? And what are the frets for it? Okay, so let's see. No, when we have minor chords. Okay, yeah, so a lot of this stuff, do we have the chords? That's all good. All right, now, I don't know, we got to figure out the right question for this thing. I think it's given, we're already given a tuning and a fretboard, so the tuning tells you what notes are, starting points for each string, and the fretboard has different gaps depending, the kind of fretboard it is. So the chart knows that stuff. So I think maybe let's start with the assertion. Sometimes that's a good place to begin. Okay, so if you say set.chord for, we're going to match the order to the string. So it's going to be root, and I think it's going to be an array. Root, third, well, let's put it this way. Let's mix it up so we know it's not just coming out in order. Okay. If you give me the chord, and I guess I got to give you the note name it wants to be. The root is note name D. Yeah, I don't know. I started doing some web stuff, and I kind of wanted to do little iPod apps and little iPhone apps. Um, some of the stuff could have been done on the web, but some of this is just like it especially, 3 or 4 years ago when I was really kind of getting into these projects, like the sound control, and um, can you control the orientation and tilt of your phone and stuff like that? Little toy things like that just weren't really on the web stuff at that point. I don't know if some of those still aren't. There's still stuff that's kind of specific, and just fit with what I wanted to learn. I had worked where I've worked before retiring from them. um, they were pretty much an Apple. Basically, it was road. We were on the road a lot and using Apple stuff for our own work projects. You could choose, and I definitely chose Apple. So got into that infrastructure enough. Okay. Yeah. Do we need the quality? Well, the equals is not what I want. I'm not sure what we have to give. So I want D major. And this is the order. Let's call that order. Root third, fifth. And then I guess I need a fret position. Fret 0. Okay. So, well, yeah, you can't define that because I haven't defined it. All right, so let's get a fretboard tuning. You don't think we'll need the quality? Won't we? Because I mean, we have a D major or a D minor or a D seventh or whatever. Like we're asking for this particular chord, so I think we'll need the quality. It's a lot of stuff, though. I grant you. All right, so set is going to be ChordChart. Tuning is fretboard tuning DAD. And the board is going to be, I want the real one. I think we give a fretboard, right? So I can just do that. Whoops. Okay. Yeah, I haven't done any Android programming. I think every smartphone I've had has been a iOS one. All right, so let's make this be, okay. Equals something. Okay, so let's do this. Excuse me. Root D, D major, starting at fret 0 with these orders. And what am I getting back? Well, I really want 0, 0, 2. But I don't know if I can. Tiny bit of Kotlin, a fair bit of Java. Yeah, I worked on a project doing Kotlin, but it was more server kind of stuff and not mobile. I don't know how to enforce that this is the only chord that comes back, but we'll try. Okay, so what I'm checking is Chord finds notes on given strings. Okay. Okay, so this is ChordChart. It's going to have this chord method. Root is a note name. Quality is a chord quality. Fret is an int. And then order is an array of chord interval. This gives back an array of int. Cannot infer. Okay. I was going to say, you should be able to. I told you it was chord quality. Yeah, one problem we have is this should be like 002 is the easiest one, but if we allow 7 to be used, 079 is reasonable. 072 is too big. 072 is too big. All right. Okay, well, 7 minutes is not a lot of time to do this. All right, so what it's got to do. Okay, so what's funny in this tuning? Let's get to a weird chord. D7th, maybe. Yeah, so D7th. Well, if the root's here, let's say the root's here. No, I was gonna say it can go backwards, but this one, if the root is here, like root, third, and we need a 7th. Okay, so it would be like 6, 5, 7. You know, so the order could be reaching to the wrong side in general. So it's like how do I restrict this? I don't know. Yeah, everything's small. Um, the thing is, I'm going to want my starting number to be 0 for the root. So my belief is if I keep the root less than 7, so I'm sorry, less than an octave, like I only take the first, maybe everything should be less than 7, but I don't mind starting at 6 and then ending up at 8 or 9. So I could do diamond, circle, triangle, 6, 10, 9. That's a little bit of a stretch, but I would be okay with that going up. Where's that E chord? Yeah, so E, if I did 5, 6.5, 8, that would be perfectly reasonable to me. I mean, 6.5 to 1 here is too big of a stretch. I think from 1 to 4, x to x plus 3 is kind of the maximum stretch you should allow. So if you wanted, well, that almost says that's not right. I may have to figure out more on how to figure out these roots, but if I don't want to reach the 1, I want to reach the 8, I'm going to have to start the root. I'm going to have to put the root on 8 to start with. Otherwise, my chords will be infeasible because 1 to 6.5 is too far. Yeah, so in D, it doesn't matter because D starts there. I could stop here at 6.5 and I would get everything. But E, to get all the way to the top, well, but let's go G because it does it even more. G, like 3, 3, 5 is a very natural one, 5, 6, 7, and then 7, 8, 10 would be very natural. I don't know if I go, let's go one more, go to A. He's got a similar, okay, there's A, C sharp, E, 6.5, 7, 8. That's a perfectly good one. That's got the 7 there. But you can't do it here because there's no low triangle. You can't replicate that one at a lower octave. So I may have to start. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm not sure how to restrict it, but like your closest one, if you grab the nearest fifth and the nearest third, you would get this. Okay. Now maybe this doesn't define as much as it could, and it certainly doesn't take into account that open strings can occur really low relative to the rest of the chord. So, okay, so all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to, I don't know if it's too big a step. We're going to take this ordering and we're going to take the strings and line them up and say the root is on the D string, the fifth is on the A string, the third is on the D string. And then we're going to call that lowest note that we did before. But he's not, yeah. Let's start trying. I mean, we've got 2 minutes. All right, so somehow I'm going to go through I'm going to match the strings on the tuning, and maybe I should even just zip them. Let's try zip tuning.strings with the order. Okay, and then if I say let x equal that, x should be note name plus interval. Yeah, so zip2 will be pairs or tuples of note name and interval. Okay, so that's a good starting point. Okay, and so each one of those we want to call that, is it on fretboard? Fretboard, we want to get the first fret for this string and this note. Okay, that's good. Map that to first fretboard dot first fret of string string note. This is string note in. Okay. Yeah, we're definitely going to wait on that one. All right, so this gets you that first string with that note. Why is it not liking note? Order. Oh, this is an interval. Okay, so given the string and the interval, do we have something to get that? Was that chord? For note and quality. Okay. I may have taken too big a bite. Let's see. Somebody's got to take chord intervals, right? No. Order. Pattern for that. That's output, chord shapes. Nope, drawing. Okay. All right. Well, maybe we're a little premature on this test still. Okay, because this is interval. Okay, so what I think we need to do is map that to something dot note for string and interval, and then that should give us the note. Somehow we have to get the frets from that. Okay, well, I'm going to comment this out. No, I'm just going to return nothing and comment that out. But I think we're not quite there to have the pieces to get us from one to the other. Somehow we had something that looks up the chords. Maybe we got to look for that, but we're out of time. But we will pick up there tomorrow, and I think we'll make a little quicker progress. We'll need a couple helpers to convert this stuff in the right way. So we'll probably back out this test, but I think it's closing in on the right thing. I mean, this is definitely an answer we want to see in the list of chords. So that's something too. All right. Well, thanks for your help today. Good to see you all. And back tomorrow, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time, 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC. Have a good night. Bye-bye.